Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karvavahai, Tejasvi Namadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai, Hari Om. Simple meaning, it says, may we both be protected together, student and teacher. May we both be nourished together. May we both be, may we, sorry, may we work together with great energy. May our study be brilliant and effective. May we not hate or dispute with one another. Om, peace, peace, peace. It's a wonderful way of starting because whenever this is my favorite thing to do is to talk about Devi, God in all its forms, and the energy that is, if you do not believe in God or have different views on it, just the energy and that compassionate, loving being that is within you, because each one of us has that. So today, I'm going to just remind us what we did last week. We talked about Navratri, which happened back end of September, October. There was the 9 days of Navratri, during which time we celebrate the 9 forms of Durga. So Nav Durga means 9 Durgas. Durga is the fierce or the warrior form of Parvati. She has many, many names: Gauri, Parvati, Durga Ma, Kali Ma. These are all names we're familiar with. It is a Shakti principle. And we've talked about her in many, many different ways. I mentioned her when we talked about Parvati during the Shiva Purans that we went over. And now we're talking about the 9 days. A lot of you, I remember discussing this concurrently at this time, is the story of Vishnu's avatar, Lord Ram, that's occurring. So, in these 9 days, when we worship Durga, it was in that time that Lord Ram um, had the fight with Ravan. And it was the big war that happened where he came to get Sita. And on the 10th day, Dashami, is when he kills Ravan. And then he returns home, at which point we then celebrate Diwali. So during the 9 days, there's a lot of different people. So, for instance, my mom, she does the Ramayana part. She reads the Ramayana completely during those 9 days. The 3 forms of Durga that we worship, or Shakti, I should say, sometimes the 9 days are divided into three parts, and we worship them as Lord Lakshmi, Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess Saraswati, and Goddess Durga. Those are the 3 general forms. So in those days, it's very important to that form is just the energy is much closer to us. It's very easy to connect to them during that time. It doesn't mean that the Devi doesn't exist after that, or is less accessible. It is just that there's a power because the cosmos, the stars align, and your vibration is much more attuned to that. So what I want to do is just quickly go over the different ones that we had already discussed. So Navaratri is the 9 forms of Durga. We started with the first one, which was Mata Shailaputri. Shailaputri is the daughter of the mountain, if you recall. So in this form, we remember, so the stories of Durga remind you that life is a continuum. It doesn't just begin with our birth and end with our death. There is a continuum of other lives that come. And Shakti reminds us that. She took many, many forms when she was torn asunder. So when you think about Shiva tearing himself apart to take Adi Shakti and give her to Brahma to create the universe, that symbolizes our separation, our Atma separation from the Paramatma. This is our journey back to getting back to Paramatma. This is her journey also of getting back to the union of Shiv Shakti. So in her previous birth, the immediate one that we remember from is Sati. And her stories we've already discussed, so I won't go over them. So Shailputri is the first, the innocent, the newly born child, the young girl who is the daughter of the mountain king Himavat and his wife Meenavati. So she meaning Shailputri is also known as Hemavati, and she is shown riding the bull with a trishul and a um I forget what, and the lotus in her hand. The second form is when she innocently goes through her innocence, and now she is a young student, a brahmacharini. What does she do as a brahmacharini? She learns, she uses her knowledge as we go through learning and growing to become part of this world. She also goes through learning. That learning is internal to us. So she also goes through that. What does she do in that form? She is seen with the Japmala, that is learning to meditate. The Kamandal, which is a sign of penance, of giving up the worldly possessions and yet surviving. She is prayed to for patience, perseverance, knowledge, and spiritual growth. In this form, if you remember Parvati's story, she is now is completely aware that she has to attain Shiva. And Shiva cannot be turned with Kamdev, the god of love. He cannot be convinced by Brahma, Vishnu, or anyone else to marry Parvati because he is an ascetic. He has given all this up. He says the world will run on its own. And Adi Shakti, while she's not part of me anymore, will exist on her own. But Parvati is determined. And so she sits and does hundreds and hundreds of years of penance. It is the eventual culmination of her Kundalini rising. So once we get to that form, and I showed you guys the marriage of Lord Shiva and so there was a lovely story Indra I shared since you're here, and you just giving you a recap of why that is such a beautiful union. So her third form, and she sits now. Please understand and remember that each one of these devis is actually a form of your chakras. So Shailaputri sits in your Muladhar. Brahmacharini sits in your creativity, knowledge, desires in your Swadhisthana. So now we come to Chandra Ghanta. Chandra means moon, Ghanta means bell. Why is she known as Chandra Ghanta? She is bringing on because Shiva transforms himself into one of the most beautiful human male forms to come and wed her. When he comes, then Lakshmi herself says, if Chandrasekhar is Lord Shiva, then and he is the most beautiful man on this earth, then Devi herself is Chandraghanta. She also is the most beautiful form of the female. Chandraghanta resides in our chakra. She is prayed to in that form for strength, bravery, and power. This is the seat of our power, Manipur chakra. So she is known to sit there. Her fierce form comes riding a tiger. She is bearing all these weapons. This is basically her adornments. If you think of the woman who gets dressed for her wedding, she is adorned in the 16. Devi Shakti comes with all her weapons. Why? Because she is guiding you towards a path of spirituality. And in that path, there are wars to be won. There are battles to be won, and one needs these weapons. The gada, which is the mace, the sword, the discus to cut the ego, the shank to call out to the powers that are out there to help you. So all these are just symbols as we look at them, but they should remind you as you look at it to internalize all these powers within you. Remember, the young woman who gets married comes in to bring justice and discipline in the world, right? When the union of a couple in any form comes into being, even in today's world, they bring something forth that is new. And that newness can only come through discipline, right? And we are young, and when we tread in that path, newly married, we see those couples, we see that person, we see that Shakti and Devi coming forth to establish justice in society. She is the protector of the family. I had told Beautiful, you can go back and look at them, the wedding of them, and what that brought. The second form, that the feminine within us, even if you're a male, I tried to explain this, there is a feminine principle in you. And as the female externally shows all these changes, the male also has them within him. So Ma Kushmanda is the form that she takes next. A newly wedded person gets into her married life. She is working, and now she is bringing forth new life. So, what is she known as? The cosmic womb. Kush means small, Ushma means warmth, and Anda means egg. This this is also an allusion. Kushmanda also is also alluding to the cosmic womb that we say the entire universe is born from. In fact, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and I'll come to that in her other forms as we go through, they all get their energy from her. She existed before anything else came out. So the creation of the world, the universe, um, the early stories that you read, if you read the Shiv Puran, you read the other Vedas, it talks about there is nothing, there is a void. And in that nothing is birthed a sound. Sound has two forms. That sound, Om, is a sound and a vibration. We say Shiva is Om itself. The word Om, the symbol Om, is Shiva. So then when you ask, what is the vibration that existed in there? That vibration is Shakti. She is the one that actually births everything. It is in her cosmic womb that the world comes into being. So in a smaller form, Ma Gauri or Parvati is now having to birth Kartikeya, who is their first son, who will destroy the evil demon Tarkasur. So Tarkasur is this evil who has existed for decades and hundreds of years and is getting worse and worse and worse. And every time Sati had come in, the gods and the devas were hoping that this would bring salvation to them, and their marriage did not happen. Now, finally, we have come to the point they're so happy. But Parvati and Shiva, as any married couple, become so engrossed in each other, they forget. They are so in love, they have left again. So it's hundreds of years, and still there's no child. You know how your mother in law starts asking questions in your family. So the gods start coming to Shiva and Parvati saying, when will our Savior be born? Parvati avoids the question. Shiva says, soon, soon. He's still so engrossed in everything. He doesn't, I want to show myself talking too, so let me bring that in. So he's still involved, and they're both involved in each other, so they don't answer back, right? So Shiva asks Parvati, what is the hesitation from bringing our firstborn? She reminds him she's been cursed. When Shiva kills the god of love, Yamdev, his wife turns around to Parvati and says, when they are married, she still doesn't have her husband. She said, the pain and suffering that I am bearing, I curse you. Remember, in those times, a curse, just the words made things happen, just the sound vibrating. That's why we say, watch your words, watch your thoughts, watch your actions. They bear fruit. So she curses Parvati and says, you will never bear anything. You will not be able to bear a child. So Parvati is really distraught. And then Shiva comes up and he says, it is time. We don't need this. You can create from our own energies because creation is a form of energy. So they go into meditation in the cave. I can't remember exactly. And Kartikeya is born of Agni, which is fire. If you think about Kushmanda, she's Manipur. Agni is right here. This is, or fire is the form that is right in here. She is shown here with, as the mother of Kartikeya, but the second form that comes in our Vishuddha, this is the 5th day of Navratri. In our Vishuddha chakra, throat chakra, is then born the mother who carries Kartikeya, the 6-headed sun. His story I've already told you all, so there's lots I can go into, but I won't. In this form, Ma Skanda Mata is seen as the mother of all the universe. We are her children. Nature is part of is her child, and you'll see her riding a lion. The lion is a form of courage. He's fierce. He's a protector of the animal kingdom. She rides him, and in her hand she carries 2 lotuses. You see how loving and compassionate a mother is? The lotus is a symbol of purity, of our spirituality and our ascension to spirituality. And yet in her right hand, she's shown carrying Kartikeya or Skand, as he is known. And that is the form that we pray to for protection, guidance. She is known as Skand Mata and Ma Durga's power. Skand is Agni. That's the word. Skand also means Agni, and he was born of fire. The Durga is in her mother form. She holds this fiery Vak Shakti. Vak means speech. Speech starts and comes from our throat, is the vibration in our throat that then takes, as Saraswati is shown, to take the 3 different dimensions of the chakra itself. And she personifies the Shakti of Agni, which is the eternal fire in our lives. She's also known to calm the mind and removes obstacles and guides the devotee to salvation. Whenever you look at a picture, I remember I've mentioned to all of you, you look at a picture, understand there's so much symbolism there. Skand Mata is always shown with one gentle foot on the ground. Have you ever wondered why? Why does she not just sit on the lion, ride on it with no feet on the ground? That gentle one foot reminds us to keep our feet on this ground, in this plane, in this human birth, and but she is the first person, the first deity that is ascending you to your higher realms. If we ascend, if our soul finds its sweetness and bliss and anand, it will not want to come back to this world. She signifies, learn to start ascending, gain that knowledge, but keep your feet on this ground because you are born in this ground. You are born in this earth, this plane. And so you have to learn to live in this world. Take that knowledge and learn to live in this world righteously. So that was what day are we at? 5th day. Now I start you on the 6th day. 6th day is Ma Katyayani. Katyayani is, the story goes, sage Katyaya wished and prayed to Ma Shakti. that he would have a daughter. So she is born in his as his daughter, and is therefore is known as Katyayani. Katya also is the name of is the use of the sword to cut. Her actual form that generally she is shown to is riding a lion, again, courage. We need courage to face some of the, when you start delving into the higher realms and you sit in meditation, you will find so many things come at you. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, they rise from the lower levels, they get created. She comes in the Agya chakra, which is your third eye. She is shown with three eyes, a karak, which means a sword in one hand, and a lotus. When the gestures of the Devi with the hands are very important, this is the blessing hand. This is the boon hand. This, when it points down, it means it's giving you boons. When a hand blesses you, it is giving you protection. So she's in this story, she's known as Mahishasur Mardini. Mardini means the one who kills Mahishasur. In the first picture over here, you'll notice she's killing a demon. She comes in this fierce form. Katyayani also comes in the Durga form. She is a Durga. And in order to kill this evil demon, Mahishasur, its story is another story. I will tell at a different time if anyone's interested. But for us, because we're more interested in what is the symbol? Why do we tell these stories? She is worshipped because she kills that. The power of knowledge, the power that we gain from knowing who we are, what is reality, and what is not real. She comes to kill the evil tendencies of Mahishasur. And in order to kill some of these things that happen in us, it requires a ferocious amount of energy and fierceness. Think of it also in the story of Krishna. When Arjun sits on the chariot in this, and he's given to all these forms, he goes through the different stages of igniting his kundalini, which you don't realize. He is overcome with fear in his first, right? He just loses all hope and sits there. Krishna then talks to him. What is the Gita's talk? He first tells him how to get rid of fear. And then he teaches him, and I won't go into too much, but he basically gets him to this other place where you need to be courageous in order to fight and understand, I am not killing my uncle, my grandfather, my teacher. It is the body that is dying. I must do this to perform this duty. And how do I do it without it impacting me and my heart? Because it is when we have emotion that hits us hard, it is recorded. And in another lifetime, we come to understand it and resolve it. If in this lifetime only if you have had an injury, you resolve that, you are then able to overcome the karma of it. It doesn't leave its imprint. So why do we call on Katyayani? We call on her in the third chakra to give us strength, to give us courage, to make us fearless. She's also very interestingly worshipped by unmarried women to get an ideal groom. So this is a very interesting side thing. She is also known, it is Ma Katyayani you pray to resolve issues on marriage. If the stars are not aligned, why do we pray to her? In the form of Gauri. She also takes away and gives you blessings in education, career, and spiritual matters. Now think about it. What is it that you need when you are going through an education, you're getting a degree? You need one pointed focus. You need that direction, that bringing together of knowledge that is only capable if your mind can go into a direct focus. She's the one who teaches you to bring your mind in focus. What do you need in your career? In order to be part and productive in society, you need to be courageous and fearless. You have to stand for the principles. You can have wealth, you can have strength, but if you do not have knowledge, you will never apply those properly. Look at Trump, perfect example. You can have two, but if you don't have the third, it is the Durga in us. It is Katyayani who gives you that single pointed. And remember, you've come up from Chandraghanta, establishing justice. And you are now, you know how justice is established. Justice, somebody hurts you, immediately your family will get together and say, that person's bad, let's go hurt him. Knowledge gives you the ability to know what is right or wrong. It's the power of discrimination. Her beach mantra is, and I'll chant it for you. Om Hreem Shreem Katyayani Namaha. If you do a jap of this every day, a mantra, it is actually going to build your focus. It will help you, especially as a student, especially when you are learning to learning a different subject. If there is troubles that you have been bothering without knowing any of the nuances of it, just a simple chanting of this brings in the Shakti of Katyayani. Om Hreem Shreem Katyayani Namaha. Om Hreem Shreem Katyayani Namaha. Om Hreem Shreem Katyayani Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we're coming to the fierce form, Ma Kalaratri. This is number 7, 8, 8, 7, right? Yeah, 7. So 7th is your Sahasrar chakra, the one right up here. It is our first touching of the universal consciousness. It is through here that we receive golden light. And it is here that Ma Kal Ratri. So what does the word Kal mean? It means time. Ratri means night. Why is time and the night important? It is the darkness that surrounds us that Ma Kal Ratri removes from us. Her form is extremely fearsome. It is one that is hard for most people to worship. If you look on that big picture on the right, she comes bearing her hair, kesh are opened. Her eyes are fire. She has fire emanating from her nostrils. She carries all these weapons. Her mala is not made of lotuses of roses. It is made of heads, skulls. She wears on her waist chopped off body parts. That is her waist adornment. So what are the abhushuns, as they call the different ornaments she wears? She doesn't wear gold. She doesn't wear crowns like you think. She is full of like fierceness. It is indicating when you give up body consciousness, you are tied to this body, its body parts. It's you are tied to this earth. She comes to show you that when you leave this world behind, what is that? She is the first one that helps you ascend to the higher realms. She is bringing Anand and bliss. She is worshipped in this fierce, fiery form. So much energy, it is raw. But she's also known as the most compassionate. Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to worship her. He was a great devotee of Ma Kali. Ma in this form is also shown as naked. She has no clothing. She is literally raw. It is what God created. As you think of God as creating you, you are a newborn. You're born like this. Her stan, which are the breasts, are also naked. Why are they shown this way? This is not a very, most people get lost in the sexual connotations. You have to understand the deeper essence, because when you see that, there's a yearning that your soul recognizes. It is the bearing that she can nourish the entire universe. She bears heavy breasts. She comes with these weapons at a time to kill some of the worst demons that none of the gods could kill. Even Shiva himself cannot do it, does not do it. All three of them, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, worship Shakti and ask, can you save the world from these demons? So the demons she conquers, the first one you should know about, and the only story I will talk about, because in detail you can do this in Saptashtami part, which we will be doing, is Rakta Bij. Rakta Bij is a demon given the boon that no man, no god, no power, no animal can kill him. Because as soon as he is killed, from one drop of his blood, an entire new Rakta Bij will be generated. So the gods try and kill him. They can't. He keeps multiplying. The Devas go. They cannot do anything. So they go to Shiva, and now they have prayed to all the gods. They have no salvation. And this demon is now become so powerful. He is consuming and putting his own injustices in our universe. And God prays to Parvati. Remember, Parvati is this gentle form. I can take you back all the way where you see her as Shailaputri. This is the gentle form of Ma Parvati. But she comes and she says, yes, I will come. She does not come as Durga or Chandrakanta. She takes the form of Durga and transforms into Ma Kali. Kalaratri is the one who is supreme over time. Past, present, and future all reside in the same time for her. They coexist. So for her, nothing is impossible. And so she comes in this fierce form. She comes carrying a kamanda, which is a skull, and a kadak, which is a round sword. And as she chops off his head, she catches all the blood of Rakta Bij and drinks it. There is no place to put his blood, right? Because his blood will grow more demons. So as she chops his head, she captures and drinks. This is why they show a red tongue with blood in her mouth. She is that fierce form that consumes and burns and destroys the evil that requires that process. So seeing her fierce form, do not think of it as what is this now? The other things I want to point out, this is very important. She's always shown in a warrior pose. If you do yoga, you know what warrior 2 is, right? That pose always has the 1 foot charging. It is never Devi standing like this. She is ready. She is in action. She is motion, energy in motion. Even in this picture, you will see with 1 foot forward. Her fierceness is such, when you get into that fierce mode, if there is anger that needs to be generated to stop the force of stopping something evil, right? There is also need for fire, for destruction. This is a form of disillusion. Nothing can bring her back. Now that she's in this form, she has now started dissolving the universe. And in order to get out of this dark space of this dark energy, Shiva then has to, the gods plead to them. They said, now Ma Kali will destroy everything because she doesn't have a need for this. This is all illusion. She's now on her path of destruction. Calm her down. Shiva says, I cannot calm her down. I don't have the power. She is the power. There's no one who can stop her. But then there is always a solution, because in silence, because he's the form of silence, he comes to the realization, there is one way. So he lays himself down in her path. And as Ma Kali steps on his heart, immediately her energy recognizes, this is my husband. So that's why in some depictions you will always see her biting her tongue. You know how when we do something wrong, we go, that is the oops. She is in the oops phase, because that recognition of who is Shiva comes into her, and immediately she calms down. So this is the form of Kali. She is also known as the one who eventually destroys Nishumb and Shumb, these demons who have taken over the realms. They have taken over the heavens because they're so powerful. So anyways, when we come to this, remember up here the Sahasrar, she's the first one that takes away ignorance and brings you to the spiritual light. So she's actually light bearing. In darkness, do you see light shines the brightest? I think I covered everything on her. Oh, let me repeat her. Her mantra is very powerful. It is worth doing. It combines the three, in Shaktiism, there are three Devis that exist above our head, and that is the universal cosmic Shaktis. They are also known with the three Bij mantras that are also in here. So the way you chant this is Om Aim Reem Kleem Chamundai Viche Om Kalaratraye Namaha Om Aim Reem Kleem Chamundai Viche Om Kalaratraye Namaha Om Aim Reem Kleem Chamundai Viche Om Kalaratraye Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So while Kalaratri is the darkness, the black you see, the pure white form of Shakti is known as Ma Mahagauri. This is Ashtami, the 8th day. A lot of people for Ashtami, they pray to this goddess. We also do Kanya Puja. Kanya Puja is when you look at those young girls, they remind us that Devi exists in this world pure, untouched, innocent. And so there's a lot of Kanya Puja done, Kanjikeya done. We offer gifts and stuff to the young girls. Ma Mahagauri. So this is not Gauri, Parvati, this is Mahagauri. It is the form of Gauri that is pure. So after coming as Durga and then becoming Kali to take care of all these demons, whenever Parvati let go of these energies, she would lose complexion and become very dark skinned. And that dark skinned, she wanted to come back to her fair complexion. She prays to Lord Brahma. So knowledge, she is actually the goddess of Saraswati as Mahagauri. Praying to Brahma, she gains knowledge. On one story, they say she goes in and is told to take a bath in Mansarovar to purify herself. Another story says go into Ganga to purify herself. As she enters and does the penance, the darkness that's within her falls away, and she is shown as this pure white form. So, what does she pray to? For purity, purity within us, serenity, and beauty. She rides the bull, I've put the Sanskrit word. So when you guys read mantras or you hear some chant, you'll start understanding the Sanskrit word. Once you see, you'll know what it means. So Vrishab means bull. She carries a trident, and we already know what the trident symbolizes, the three tattvas: sattva, rajas, and sattva, rajasic, and oh my God, what am I doing here? Tamasic. She carries the damaru. Remember, damaru is something that Shiva carries. The damaru for her, remember, what is she reminding you in knowledge? Start understanding we are vibration, we are sound. Light has two forms. It comes in straight lines and in waves. The wave form of light, as Einstein finally discovered, there were two different ways. This is only science catching up now. It has existed for millennia. That vibration is the Damaru. And she again has the mudras. She is boon giving and protective. Her white clothes symbolize transcendence. When you transcendent to the white pure light, she is the symbol of that. She takes you directly to the Supreme Satchitananda. As does Ma Kali, different ways, just as fast. So that her name is Ma Mahagauri. Gauri actually means white. And now we are on the 9th day. It is Ma Siddhidatri. Siddhis are powers that one holds. When you meet realized souls, sages, yogis, yoginis, some of them have gained siddhis. Siddhis are powers. They are transcendental or supernatural powers. You know, sometimes you meet someone who's very clairvoyant, they can sort of see in the future. These are powers they've gained. They didn't just gain it in this lifetime, it is lifetimes of tapas that they have done, pujas they have done, mantras they have done, that gives them the ability to do this. The one who grants this to you is Goddess Siddhidatri. Who is she? She is Shakti. She is Adi Shakti. In this form of her, remember I told you these are all attributes we always see when we see them in a form. She is also the one who granted and bestowed Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu with their powers of creation, preservation, and dissolution. As if you remember the story I told it last time, actually here what you see in this picture down here, I want to point out the devas, the gandharvas, the gurus, the yogis, that everyone prays to Siddhidatri, because she is the grantor of all the powers that one might want to imbibe in this year. Remember, you can't just get these boons. They are not given to people who wield them erroneously. Sometimes siddhis and powers come to you. When they come and you don't know, you're just a computer science engineer and you're like, how do I have? Use it. That power was given to you because over lifetimes you asked for it. You were born to use it in the right way. She will grant it to those who will then use it for the right actions. Ma Siddhidatri is the bestower of prosperity. Remember, when you ascend the higher levels, Prosperity to you is not going to be dollars and diamonds and golds. Prosperity will come in different ways to you. The prosperity of being ability to reach the higher levels and come down. Remember, look at her foot. Where is her foot? And she sits on, she's not sitting on a tiger for courage or a lion. She sits on the lotus, the Padma, the 1,000 petal lotus that is above our heads. She's that star. She is in your star um, chakras. She carries, interestingly, chakra, gada, the mace, lotus, and shank, symbols of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva to help create. So those were our Navadurgas that we had to go through. The 9 days are very auspicious. Every day that you pray, if you do any of the, if you call upon any one of these devis, it also helps align your chakras. I keep bringing it back to everyone about meditation. Why do you pray to a certain goddess? Yes. Again, remember, if you sent a letter to your friend and you want the government to start your water, the friend is not going to start your water. You have to address it to the right place. Similarly, when you sit and there is a certain energy that you need to invoke, you pray to that goddess. It gives you that energy and that the blessings that come to you from aligning things that you are not, your mind not might not physically know about, but your Atma carries and is trying to teach you how to get back to your source, how to get back to Paramatma. Any questions?
It was
I can go
incredible.
back if you have questions. I can go back in the
That
slides too.
that was incredible. It was so incredible. I'm gonna go back and listen to the session I missed.
Okay.
Wow. So this Navaratri and the the days really align to our journey, to our soul's journey.
Mhm.
I never realized that.
Yeah. So it is our ascension. It's a beautiful Nav Durga shows you your life in
Yes.
entire transition, how you should live,
How
right?
you should live.
And it also tells you in each of those stages the courage you need, the fearlessness, the intelligence, those all will come, but you're not alone. You are literally carried by the mother who has birthed the entire universe. So if you think of your own mom and you think of how much, whenever you have an issue, you run to her, this is how you have to treat each one of the Durgas in the mother form, because that's how she comes. And grace is something, I was just thinking about this today's meditation. I was like, what am I supposed to say? So this came to me. It said, what is the difference between praying for something and grace? What does grace mean? Grace is something given without asking. And the form that Ma exists in is the form that gives without asking, right? When you come to your mother and say, "Oh my God, I
Yeah.
got this boo boo," she not
Yeah.
only puts that, and then she offers you something sweet to eat to make you feel better. She cuddles you to give you. That is grace. Grace means when you call on Ma, she won't just fix your problem; she will take care of you.
I mean, this is just incredible. I have no idea how you know all this. This is
But she
really